And the thing is, in relationships, normally what happens is if you've got something hidden in your past, something that's not good, instead of dealing with it, what you do is you project that on the other person. We were never at peace. We were always like quarrel over little things and not come to peace. But at Yom Kippur, what happened that day was we came clean with each other. We forgave each other. And after that, we started a new relationship. And then it started to make sense for me where he says what the new covenant is, where he will write his Torah on your will, on your emotions, your mind, your heart. And I can just say that it's been an amazing journey. And the thing is, I think you learn a lot about forgiveness, because if you cannot forgive completely and not bring it up every time when you fight, how can the Creator work with you? You have to come to that place where you absolutely give over, where there's less of you and more of Him.
Shalom and welcome to Kingdom Stories. Today I have a very interesting guest, Lukas Louw. He's from Bloemfontein and they are currently residing in Costa Rica. Last week I interviewed his wife, Yolandi, and so today I think is going to be another very interesting conversation. Lukas, thank you so much for your time.
This is a newbie for me. I haven't done much speaking publicly, but yeah, we've been on a very interesting journey. And I'm thankful to be here today. I'm thankful that the Creator has got the time to give input in our lives and to change us.
Absolutely. How blessed are we that He takes such an interest in our lives and that He leads us and that He helps us. Lukas, tell me, did you grow up in the church? Did you grow up as a Christian? How was your relationship with Elohim?
We grew up like a typical South African family. Our parents took us to Sunday school on a Sunday, but not really involved, not really knowing the truth. It was just something that you had to do. So we grew up in the Dutch Reformed Church, and there, when you turn 18, you have to do your catechism, and it's basically there 10 or 12 guidelines or rules or laws that they put down, and you have to know it by heart. And when you turn 18, you have to say it. Doesn't matter where your relationship with your Creator is.
So did you continue having a relationship with Father? How was your relationship with Him?
Okay, when I was around 17, like Youth for Christ or one of those organizations came to the school, and the kids gave their testimonies and they made an invitation. And then you had the opportunity to walk to the front and give your heart to the Creator. And I did it at that time. When you're 17, it's hard to keep by the rules. It was heartfelt when we did it, but there was like no follow-up. And then you fall back into the world and you carry on with partying and doing things your way. So when me and my wife got married and we started to expecting our first child, we decided that we have to make more seriousness of what we believe in. And at that stage, we moved to a more charismatic church here in Bloemfontein.
Okay, would you say that being in a more charismatic church affected your relationship with Elohim?
I think what was one of the important things there was the praise and worship, where you felt closer to your Creator, but it still didn't have the life-changing effects that we had later in our walk with Him. So there was like a deepening, but not His laws were not written in my heart. I still did things my way. If the thing is, you would give certain parts, you would give over, but other parts you still kept for yourself.
But then something changed.
Yes.
So please tell us about that.
Okay, so what happened was, after the charismatic church, we divided again because there was different ideas. And then we ended up in the Bikers Church here. And then after that, we built a boat and we left to go sailing. And we lived on the boat for about 3 years. Along the way, we stopped at different islands. And when we would go there, we would normally hook up with one of the churches on the island, and mostly more African people. And the singing and stuff was very good, but it was just like a temporary, it was just transitionary period. When then we went to America, we joined the Baptist church there, and then later another Baptist church that had a South African preacher. And after that, we started looking into moving Costa Rica because my work permit was running out. and we had an episode. We were going to open up a youth camp, and that didn't realize. And we had a bad experience, and then we said, look, we understand that there is a creator and that he made a plan for our salvation, but we were not going to participate in any, how can you say, organized religion, the inside of a church. We just lived on the outside in the hills, and while we were living there, we met people. And you know what normally happens is, if you in a foreign country, you're always looking for other people that can speak English. I'm not looking for African, but even just English. And we found these people at the filling station. And at that stage, they told us that they do worship on a Saturday. And I thought, okay, they're Seventh-day Adventists. We're not trying to convert anybody. We just want somebody that we can relate to and speak to, because when you're in a foreign country and it's mostly Spanish, it's difficult. You need to meet some people that you can communicate with. Anyway, so what happened was, these people came to us in the beginning, and then we realized that they're not Seventh-day Adventists, that they are more like Messianic Hebrews, and they taught us a lot of things about Shabbat and about the feast days and about the name of the Creator. And that was one of the things that really turned me over, because what the guy told me was that those 4 letters, the tetragrammaton, the 4 letters, that Yod Heh Vav Heh, is the only Hebrew letters, and I don't know if it's true, but it makes for a good story. That is the only word, in Hebrew that you say without using your lips or your tongue. So it's basically like breathing in and breathing out. And for that for me said, how amazing is that? Because the day that I was born, I had my Creator's lip on my name, all the thousands of millions times in between. And the day that I die, I'm going to die with his name on my lip, like breathing in, breathing out. And then they had me hooked. Then I wanted to know more. And yes, it's not a perfect process from the beginning. I can remember the first time when we did Pesach, the next morning when we came out, the sheep hoof was still hanging on a piece of rope there. But yeah, that really changed the way that we looked at things. And me and my wife, before Yom Kippur, we had like a moment of truth where we came and we spoke with each other. And the thing is, in relationships, normally what happens is, if you've got something hidden in your past, something that's not good, instead of dealing with it, what you do is you project that on the other person. We were never at peace. We were always like quarrel over little things and not come to peace. But at Yom Kippur, what happened that day was, we came clean with each other, we forgave each other, and after that, we started a new relationship. And then it started to make sense for me, where he says what the new covenant is, where he will write his Torah on your will, on your emotions, your mind, your heart. And I can just say that it's been an amazing journey.
So you started keeping Shabbat, you started keeping the feast, you started pursuing Torah, and your life changed, your family changed.
Yes.
Were there other differences that took place in your family that you'd like to share about?
Well, I think the most important part was the relationship between me and my wife. We did not have that old baggage that we drag along. And the thing is, I think you learn a lot about forgiveness, because if you cannot forgive completely and not bring it up every time when you fight, how can the Creator work with you? You have to come to that place where you absolutely give over, where there's less of you and more of Him. And I'm not saying that I'm doing it right now, but once you start to understand that the Creator never changed, that you are never changed, that what He said, whether it's dietary or it's Shabbat, it is a constant. It is not, and there's no gray areas. There's no, I'm going to do this thing this way. You just have to do it the way that it's written there. And then people say you're placing yourself under the law. For me, it's much easier this way, because He puts a boundary on the 4 sides or wherever around me. And whatever I want to do inside here, I can do, because I'm not transgressing His rule book. And I'm not saying that I'm doing it perfectly. Yes, every now and again, you think I could have done that better, or I should have done it like this way. But the thing is, that's why His Son is there. So the day that you do make a mistake or you sin unwittingly, that you can come and say, I did not know, or I was weak, or I did this. But his instructions is very clear, and it's very easy to follow. It's not hard.
Yeah, it's written, and you will know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So, I spoke with Yolandi about the reconciliation that happened between you guys and how much better she feels about it, like she's so much happier and so forth. So I would like to ask you from a male perspective, how did that change your day-to-day? How did that change your life when reconciliation took place between you and your wife?
Okay, so the thing is, the Creator's got perfect time. When my wife when he first spoke to her and said that she had to make right, I think almost another 6 years passed before she finally came to me. But if she would have come to me in that period before we started doing the Creator's things in his way and knowing about forgiveness, I think we probably might have got divorced, because that own self always wants to overpower. And the thing is, but when we started to do Torah and we learned about forgiveness, we just knew that there's no other way that you can do it. If I cannot forgive her and she cannot forgive me, then what happens is you cannot come before the Creator. Because he says in his prayer, he says that, as you forgive your enemies, I will forgive you. Not that we were enemies. So the thing is, at the right time, and then I think that is one of the wonders of his feast days, of Pesach and of Yom Kippur and Day of Atonement, that you get placed before a decision, because it's like a cleaning of the slate. What happened, the stuff that happened between us was just many years ago, but you still carry it with you. And like I said, if you don't deal with it, it eats at you. And because you don't want to deal with it, you project it on the other person. So it's not your fault, it's their fault. So once you come to this reconciliation where you say, I've done bad things and I want the Creator to forgive me, how can I expect him to forgive me if I cannot let go of things that happened in our past? This was liberating.
Do you find that you have more shalom in your home now?
Definitely. It is just so much easier. It's just so much easier. I don't think that you can live in the world without Yeshua and Yeshua and have this amount of tranquility and peace. And it's just peace. Me and my wife, we've been together for 44 years. Out of that 44 years, we married for 37 years. And I can honestly say that up till 2012, 2013, when we started to try observe Torah, our life was a constant, like a battle of the wills. Always tried to not subdue, but to have the last word. But it's just so much easier now. And I think it starts to, our children see that it has changed our lives. So I think it's a very positive testimony to them.
So, what is your perspective? What is your view on salvation, the salvation that was brought to us through Yeshua?
Salvation. I know that there's nothing that I can bring to the table that can bring me in right standing with him. I just know that it's his grace, because I didn't choose this path. We were living in the middle of nowhere, making our decision, okay, we're done with organized religion, and he sent people over my path. And they explained it to me. And for the first time in my life, it made more sense. Because my problem with mainstream church, religion, whatever you want to call it, is that, first of all, there's no reverence. There's no reverence. You and Jesus are buddies. You tight, you like this. We're very flippant about, it's the Son of the Most High. It's part of him. And the other thing that I had a huge problem with was that there's no accountability. You can do whatever you want to do, and then later you just say, I'm sorry, and then you're forgiven, because it's like in Afrikaans we say, Liewe Jesus. But what we have to remember is the first time when he came as a lamb, this time he came as the lion. He's going to sit on that horse and he's going to judge us, and judgment's going to start with his children first. And we've got this idea that we can do whatever we want to and say that we're sorry, and then we can do it again. I mean, in Hebrews 10, I think it says that on the testimony in time of Moses, on the testimony of 2 or 3 people, somebody was stoned to death if they had a transgression. And then the next verse, I think it says that how much more so if you trample the blood of your Savior underfoot by doing the same thing that you've been freed or confessed about before. You cannot do it. And then there's the verse that, I think it's 28, that says that if you sin purposely after you've come to know the truth, that there's no more blood for atonement. We cannot just go on and do what we want to do and expect good results. This just doesn't work like that.
Have you seen any miracles in Costa Rica? Tell me about some miracles that you've seen.
Yes, there's some quite interesting things that happened. In Costa Rica, for instance, if you let a clump of rice or whatever falls to the floor, within 10 minutes it looks like a huge party, these little black ants. And when we started to observe Shabbat, we basically cooked on the Friday, and then we always have people over. Our house is always open. My kids and my kids' friends, everybody visit with us. We always got friends. Then we would eat, and the plates and stuff would pile up. We had a separate little laundry area, and we would pile it up there, and it's not washed. And then the next evening when we wash, we would go in there, and there would not be one ant. I know it sounds, ooh, these people are crazy. Another thing that we had was, we had like a water source. So water is gravity fed. We put it in a tin, in a pipe, and then it feeds to a tank, and then from the tank we feed it down to the house. So when we started to do, but one of these water sources just opened up by itself, and that doesn't happen. You normally have to go up, unpack the rocks, and clean it out. And then we're living in an amazing time of where Yahuwah provide for us in the most amazing ways. We live on a fairly tight budget, what other people would see, but we never have any lack of food. We eat very well, and we eat healthy. The thing is, even this last bit, but we've always been blessed with health. The last time that my wife went to a doctor was when our youngest daughter, which is now close to 29, 30, when she was born, that was when Yolani was there, and I went like a few months before her. That's the last time. So if you take, that's 30 years ago. So I've been to the doctor the last time when I was 32 years old. I'm 63 now. And most of our teeth. And I'm healthy. I'm feeling better now than I felt when I was 40. Yeah, we've really been blessed with health. So yes. Also good husbands for our 3 daughters, and all 3 daughters are married now. The last one got married the 22nd of last month, and all of them has got good, strong, God-fearing husbands. Yeah, that is like a hallelujah moment.
Yeah. That really is something to be grateful for. So was there anything that Father freed you from? Any addictions, any strongholds?
Yes, because me and my wife didn't have a solid relationship, I tended to go on the internet, and I got involved with pornography, became addicted to it. It's a deep hole that just sucks you in. It just gets more perverse and more perverse. And I can honestly say that when I came to the Father and brought that to him, that he completely freed me from it. But with that, I would also say that then it becomes your responsibility to avoid any road that would lead you to fall back into that. The thing is, like when you're an alcoholic, it says that you're always an alcoholic. It's not that I'm a recovered alcoholic. There's not such a thing. It's just an alcoholic that doesn't drink at the moment. So the thing is, I think with pornography, it's very much the same. I always tend to tell my friends that if we sit in front of the television, or I sit alone in front of YouTube, you can quickly see in which direction the story is going, and then you can either excuse yourself from the conversation if you're at somebody's place, or if it's on the internet, you just have to move completely away from it, because the enemy, you're just one click away from being back to your old habits. I think that if the Creator frees you from something, that you do have a responsibility, and that you cannot just do it over and over again and try to bring it under his blood. Like when we spoke earlier, I said to you, there is like in Hebrews 10:28, the verse that says that if you sin purposely after you have come to know the truth, there is no more the sacrifice of blood. So that is one thing that I definitely got freed of. And then the other thing is, I've got a very strong personality, and I tend to just like my way or the highway type of thing. And it's a constant process of being less of me and listening more to what other people say.
So, on the thing that you said of whenever you're watching a movie and that people are going to start taking off their clothes or whatever, you put it off or you walk away if you're visiting people. That's so important. Earlier, we also spoke about that, and it's spiritual warfare. Yeshua spoke about this. When you send a spirit away, he will hover, but they're territorial. They want to come back. So then he'll come back, and if he sees you're not full, like, oh, it's swept and it's nice and clean, then he'll go and he'll get 7 friends that are stronger than him. So then that addiction will be even stronger. So it's so important to then keep your eye on that and to guard against it and to ask Father to help you. And if you're a recovering alcoholic, you can never drink alcohol again because then you'll fall back into it. And the thing is, if you do, that addiction will be stronger and it'll be so much more difficult to then move away from that. So that's a very good safeguard to have in your life, that you don't, by accident, allow that spirit of lust to come back into your life again. What's something that you've learned so far in your life and on this journey that you would like to share with people out there?
I know in the Word it says that Yahuwah doesn't have any favorites, but I sometimes feel that he makes an exception. But I felt that I've had just like the most amazing and blessed life. We've had opportunity to travel extensively. I'm blessed with 4 beautiful children. And just today, there was another one added to the family. My youngest daughter gave birth to her first one. My oldest daughter has got 3 children, so I've the grandfather of 4 grandchildren already. And I've got a lovely wife that for the first time in many years, we see eye to eye and we are at peace with each other and we are forming a team. But some of the things that I always feel that's very important is to have no fear, because for me, if you have fear, it is basically saying that your Creator is not sufficient for the task or cannot solve the problem. And then the other thing that I think is very important is to have a grateful heart, even though it's not like other people see it. If you're thankful for what you have, then there's place for Him to do more. But if you complain with your life, then you cannot really expect changes. I feel that every challenge that comes over your life is like in a classroom. You get taught something, and the way that you react to it will determine whether you're going to do that same exercise again or whether you're going to move to the next exercise. And it's all about growing. I think it's about growing your character, that it is more in line of what our Creator wants us to be, that we will be in the end when He comes back, the perfect bride and without spot and blemish.
Amen. So if there was one thing that you wanted the whole world to know, what would that be?
For me, it's very frustrating because once He have shown you truth, you tend to be thinking, but why cannot they see it? But then we tend to forget that we've always also been there, and that I've started this path basically 10 years ago. And if you would have spoken to me before that, I thought that I had it down pat, that I knew all the answers. And I've just realized that there is so much more. And He says in His word that if you ask Him wisdom, that He will give it to you. I would like that people go back to their Bibles, step away from the indoctrination that we've received over all the years, and just go and read for yourself. And if you ask the Spirit to show you, He will show you. It's promised in His word.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. Lukas, thank you so much for your time. It was such a wonderful conversation. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. May this bless the listeners. Yeah, may Father bless you and your family.
Thank you for the opportunity. The thing is, afterwards, if I would listen to it, I'd probably say I could have said a lot of things a lot better. But on the spur of the moment, it's not too bad. And I hope that it blesses you.
Well, every time before we do these interviews, we pray and we ask Father to lead us. So I believe that all the things that were mentioned today were meant to be said, and somebody has to hear it. Okay, Shalom.